This project is super easy to do and it has such a high impact look. We are going to be taking a platform plaque, we are going to be taking a painter stick, a little mini star, and also some craft sticks. I pick these craft sticks up from Walmart and I get a big pack of them. I think they're like $2 or $3. Don't quote me on that, but it's a really great deal for the amount that you get. I'm going to add some hot glue onto my painter stick, and then I'm going to add that right around the rim of this plaque base that we're going to be using. I'm going to use my staple gun and staple that in place. You don't have to use the staple gun, but I'm going to really highly recommend, if you don't have one, ask for one for Christmas because they are the best. I will say if you have arthritis, they are a little hard to squeeze, but oh man, it makes it so that things really do hold together when you're working in your craft room, because sometimes hot glue is not always dependable. Once I've got that base on there, you can see here, I glued that very first craft stick on there and I cut it at an angle. That's so that I can make sure that all the rest of them are going to be on there straight. I now am taking the rest of these sticks and I'm going to just line them up, and you can put them closer if you want to. I was going for a little bit of a farmhouse traditional look, and then I'm going to hold those all in place. They're not glued down yet because I need to cut them first. I'm going to go ahead and just create some wispy little lines that are coming out so that it looks like a Christmas tree branch. You can see that the point that I come up to on the next one, on the next stick up, I go out a little further and then I come up so that the lines are not lined up perfectly. We want to see that little edge that's coming off at the bottom of each stick so it looks like a Christmas tree, and you see it going up to a point, again, just like a Christmas tree would. Think triangle. Think triangle. I think that's probably the best advice. All right, now I'm going to use some old scissors. Do not use your new scissors or your sewing scissors on this. This will absolutely destroy them. But if you have some old scissors on hand, go ahead and use those to cut all of these craft sticks. Once they're all cut out, you can go ahead and now start gluing them onto the painter stick. Simply take your time so that they're straight. Double check, because the worst is when you stand up a craft project and things are crooked. I've had that happen before. Go ahead and start gluing them on one by one, and when you get to the very top, you are now going to remove the sticker from the bottom of that plaque sign, and then we're going to paint it. You could leave it wood, you could stain the wood. It's all up to you and what you want to do. This is the best part about crafting. You get to customize your projects to look however you would like them to look. And I really promote that here on my channel. You can copy what I'm doing here, or you can make it your own. So I didn't have the exact color of green that I wanted on hand. Anytime you want to get to a more olive toned Christmas green, I like to add in brown and yellow, and that really does get me to that color I'm desiring. So I'm going to do that, mix it all together, and then add a little bit of white because it was getting a little too dark for my liking. So this is going to be a beautiful, I would say, forest green, maybe even a little hint of that emerald green in there. It's a little bit lighter, but I just loved how the color turned out. What I was going for, I found it. Anyway, go ahead and paint your whole project at this point. I'm just going to give it a nice coat going all the way around, and I really wanted the color to be saturated, so if I saw that the wood was poking through a little bit, I went back in with a second coat because I really wanted to get that traditional Christmas look on this particular project. You could distress it. We all know we love a little distressing here on this channel. If you're going for a farmhouse look, you could do all sorts of things with this project. You could even paint it black. That could be beautiful too. There are so many options when you work with these craft sticks, and just wait until you see how we finish this project out. So I'm going to go ahead and dry in between my layers because like I said, I wanted the color to be really saturated. I also wanted to make sure we paint the backside. Oh friends, if I could promote anything here on my channel, make sure always to finish the back sides. I see so many crafters where they don't remember to do the back sides, and it really takes down the quality of a project. Just give a little bit of extra time to the back, paint it, paint the bottom, do those necessary steps to really make it look finished. You could also spray paint this if you wanted to. That would speed it up, but then you have the dry time. Now at this point, I am going to move on to my little star. I'm going to let that dry over to the side. I've got this metal flakes. It's gilding sheets, basically golden sheets. I don't know. We're going to just ignore what Heidi says. We're going to call them metal flakes. That's what Dollar Tree wanted to call them. You can find this at Dollar Tree. But I'm going to just put some Mod Podge onto the star and then put these golden flaked sheets. Why do I always struggle with words here on my channel when I'm doing these voiceovers? I don't know, it's real life, I guess. I'm a real crafter in my real craft room. The trick to doing this is you want to tap, 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 not drag, drag, drag. When you drag, it shifts around that golden sheet and it will cause it to pull and tear. If you happen to have any little spots that aren't working, you can see the glue still, you can just pick up another little piece and tap it right on it. Now keep in mind, if you get glue on your hands, this stuff is going to stick to your hands. So make sure when you put it down, let it dry for maybe a minute. You can even use a heat gun to help dry it quicker. Go ahead and remove all the extra that you don't want on your star. And then I'm going to simply just glue it to the top of this little darling tree we're making. Now, I wanted to make a really pretty candle feature on this decor piece. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of these green ties that you can use to tie up garlands on your stair rails. That's what these are really for. But we are going to be wrapping it around to get the size of the candle, and then I'm going to make a mini wreath with it. This is going to turn out so beautiful, and it's going to really heighten the look of this project when we're done, giving it a high quality look. I could definitely see something like this at Pottery Barn. In fact, they sell votive candle holders that look like this, and they're so expensive. Oh my word. We're going to do this with Dollar Tree craft supplies and some craft sticks from Walmart. So once you've got your wreath ring all in place and twisted, I'm now going to come in with some of these berries. They have these beautiful berry picks at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to add that onto my little wreath. I'm going to set that right onto my stand, and then I'm going to add my candle, and that's it. Isn't it so pretty? I love all the signs they have at the Dollar Tree, but sometimes you don't know really what to do with them other than just hanging them up. So I like to give you, my crafting friends, a couple ideas to use these signs in different ways. For this particular sign, it is such a darling Santa truck with a candy cane lane arrow on it, and I thought, how cute would it be if we could make this stand upright? I'm going to take some of these blocks that you can get in the craft section at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just glue them on the back side of the wheel or the tire of this truck sign. Taking it apart is going to allow us to be able to make this become vertical, and it's really going to up the value of this sign. This is the kind of home decor that you would see in a lot of department stores around Christmas time. When we're finished with this look, it is going to look so high end compared to it just being a $1.25 sign that you can hang on the door or the wall in your home. Now, I like to take a craft stick, roll it around in my hot glue, and then secure that stick with a piece of paper. This is really going to help up the ante on this project, making it have a higher quality look and a finished completed backside. I like to use a wood grain scrapbook paper. I get this often at like Joann's or Michael's. They have a lot of different scrapbook papers there, so I just keep some on hand, and then I'm going to glue that down so it has a nice finished backside. Now, at this point, we could stop there. It's super cute, but I decided to add some more embellishments to the front of this by just simply taking some bows, some buttons, and some greenery. Tucking it over to the side on the back side of the truck really just enhances this darling little sign that was just $1.25 at the Dollar Tree. You can see here that I first glued on a twine bow, then I'm going to come in with a gingham bow, and then to finish it off, we're going to add some buttons. This project was super quick to make, and it really is elevating these signs. So the next time you go to the Dollar Tree and you pick up one of these signs, don't be afraid to embellish it and play with it by adding on all kinds of different little embellishments and even adding it to a 3D element with it, having it go vertical. So in the end, I'm going to add on a couple little buttons here, and this sign is ready to be displayed on any table in your home. All right, we're going to use 5 of these wood planks and as well as 8 of these squares. We are going to be creating a beautiful high-end wood box that you can use honestly for pretty much anything. I'm going to be using it as a table decor piece where I'm going to put beautiful red berries in it for this Christmas season. So I'm starting by taking 4 of the squares. I glued them to one of the planks right in their corners, and now I'm using that as a support system to glue on the sides. Once I've got those 4 around the side, I'm now going to take the last 4 squares and I'm going to glue those right into the box. Now, you could use some other things besides the wood squares. I knew that I wasn't going to be looking at the inside of the box, so I ended up using the wood squares for really strong supports. If you wanted to use this as like a gift box, you could take these wooden dowels and use those as supports in the middle. That would work too. So you can see here that I'm cutting down those craft wooden sticks for supports on the side and to cover up that seam where the wood doesn't perfectly line up. And now I'm going to paint it all white to give it a nice, pretty, fresh Christmas look. Once that's done, I'm going to put some foam inside of that box glued into place, and I'm going to add in these berries. I had a couple people ask me, how do I store these berries? I actually have what I call a flower tower. It's this huge tower. I'll show it in my craft room tour that's coming very soon. And I just store them out in the open all year long. And then if they get dusty at all, I just dust it over really quick, but really it doesn't do that. Now, if any of the berries pop off, I do like to take a little bit of red paint and I just tap the tops of those spots where the foam might be showing, and it looks brand new again. So that's how I store my berries. At this point, I've added a ticking stripe fabric bow around it, found an old ornament that I had on hand from the Dollar Tree, and this looks so high-end and so beautiful to put out for Christmas. This ornament is so whimsical and downright adorable. I'm going to use a small terracotta pot, a round wood ball that's flat on one side so you can see it sitting there nice and flat, some fabric, and then I'm going to pull out some buttons. I happen to have these star buttons on hand that I picked up from Joann's a couple years back, so I'm going to go ahead and pick out 3 of them, and then we're going to start with adhering the wood ball to the bottom of the terracotta pot, and I'm using a combo of E6000 that'll lock that wood and terracotta together, and hot glue. The hot glue will hold it in place while the E6000 is drying. Then I painted it white, and I'm going to come back in with a small scrap of fabric. I'm going to use this red and white ticking stripe fabric. I just love this fabric, and I'm kind of using it a lot this Christmas season just because I think it has that country charm that I adore. So you can see here I'm going around the neck part of my little snowman ornament, and I'm just wrapping around that fabric to create a darling little scarf. I folded it in half to add a little bit more texture to the bottom of the scarf, and then I'm just going to cut off any extra that I don't need that's hanging down too long. Once I've got the scarf on, Now we're going to move on to the hat. I've got another piece of fabric, and you're going to see here that I'm actually like flipping it around a bunch of different ways, trying to decide which way I like the fabric to be closest to the face. I'm going to make a line across the forehead, and then I'm going to make a straighter line across the back because I don't want it to come too far down where it's going to make the hat pull backwards. You can see here that it's kind of pinched towards the top like this. I want the fabric to be as straight as we can towards the top, but I want it to also kind of go back a little bit at the forehead. So I'm now going to just lock in both sides with my hot glue, pull it up, and you can see at the top, if you've got this oval type shape at the top of your fabric, you're in good shape. Now we're going to take the scissors and we're going to just do little snips all over it, the very top of that fabric. It's going to look like a cute little spiky hairdo. And then I'm going to take some twine, tuck it down in there and glue it into place because this is going to be how our ornament hangs up. Because once we tie the hat together, you won't really be able to get that in there. So now I'm going to take some red yarn and I'm going to just do a double knot off to the side of the hat, pulling all of those little fibers together into the middle so it's got that pom-pom at the top of a winter hat. Make sure your string is nice and straight still. And then once you've got that knotted in place, you're going to want to cut off any extra of the yarn if it's too long. And you could embellish the hat a little bit if you want to take it that extra step. But I decided I loved the hat because it was already so busy with the fabric. Now we're going to go ahead and add on those buttons down the snowman's tummy. And this would be such a cute project around the base or that rim of the terracotta pot towards the bottom. You could customize it and put names for each grandchild or family member. Now we're going to just simply add on a face and a little bitty nose. And at this point, it is the cutest ornament I think I've ever crafted here on my channel. You will see so many of these type of deers on high-end websites. Pottery Barn, even Target. They sell these for anywhere between $15 to $30. They had them at the Dollar Plus section for $5. So I'm going to take some of the picks and frosted glitter stems from the Dollar Tree and a piece of this foam square. And I'm going to cut it down to size so that I can glue it to the base inside of the deer's legs. Now I'm going to use some E6000 because I don't always trust just hot glue by itself. So I'm going to use my little key tool here. I love this tool. I had a subscriber send it to me a while ago where I can basically just twist it and it'll allow me to always keep the pressure in my E6000, and then I'll be able to, get out the amount I need. Put the cap back on, add some hot glue, and pop it into place. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of these leaves from one of the picks, and I'm going to kind of build up the base a little bit because I don't want to see this foam. We want to make sure we're covering it with as much greenery as we possibly can. So I'm going to add in first those green leaves, then I'm going to come in with this silver frosty looking pick that looks like twigs, but it has glitter. Then I'm going to add in some frosted berries and some beautiful vibrant red berries. And anytime the berries get in the way, I do kind of pull a little bit off on the end just to make sure I have a nice good imprint into the foam and I can hot glue it into place without them popping out over time. Now this next step is optional. You can put in whatever you want. I am going to be using a pick that I had on hand. It's actually a long garland strand I get from Hobby Lobby whenever they have it on sale for their greenery long garlands. And I'm simply just going to cut off a couple pieces and pop those in because I really love how boxwood looks with Christmas berries and some moss in there. And at this point you can see Adding all this extra texture in there really does just bring it to life and makes it look real. I think that's the thing I love most about using faux greenery. When you start blending different types of them together that complement each other, it looks so beautiful and high-end on a strict budget.